Welcome to the Scrum.org Community Podcast, a podcast from the home of Scrum. In this podcast, we feature professional Scrum trainers and other Scrum practitioners sharing their stories and experiences to help learn from the experience of others. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hello and welcome to the Scrum.org Community Podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, and also the CEO here at Scrum.org. We're very fortunate to have a very interesting professional Scrum trainer on today's podcast. We're fortunate to have Fabio Panzivolta, which I've been practicing his surname for days, and I'm not sure I got it right there. Welcome to the podcast, Fabio.
Thanks, Dave. That's perfectly spelled. My surname. Yeah.
You're too kind. I think my ability to say your surname is not that great, but I do my best, which is all that matters. Hey, so Fabio, you are an Italian living in France, talking on this podcast in English. So it'll be an interesting journey. I'd love to hear, how you, your journey, how you got here, an introduction to yourself, help our listeners understand a little bit about who you are. And also, it would be great to hear something that's a little bit amusing or interesting or unique about you.
Yeah, sure. Dave, so I am almost 48 years old. As you said, I'm living in Paris, France, and have to resume 20 years of experience, a little bit more, I think 22 years of experience, so I will try to do my best. But I have on a personal side, I like to tell a little bit about my personal life. I have a son who is 13 years old, Luca, who is playing basketball beautifully. So that's about my life, and I am absolutely passionate about Scrum agility. I'm practicing since more or less 10 years of these 20 years, so half of my professional experience. So I am very fortunate because I do what I'm passionate about. So I'm really not working. I am enjoying my every day of my life. So that's about me. And a fun fact about me, I don't know if it is fun, but I like a lot to ride bikes. So I have a motorbike. And I was enjoying doing track sessions with my bike, and now getting a little bit older, I think I have stopped since 1 year, and that's over. Yeah, so that's more or less all, I think.
So I'd love to hear. I mean, I'd love to lean in a little bit about the bike thing. I'm always interested about motorbikes, but this isn't the right place to talk about that. But I'm really interested in, you're Italian, Fabio, but you live in one of my favorite cities in all the world, Paris. What took you from Italy to the beautiful city of Paris? Both amazing countries, by the way.
That's quite something connected to Scrum, actually, because it's about adventure. I like not being in every day the same thing. So since very young, I like to make adventures, which is what we do when we do Scrum also in companies. So basically, I was saying to my parents, okay, bye-bye, I'm going for 1 or 2 years abroad and making experience, and then I will come back. But finally, I found a really nice job here in Paris through my university. And finally, because Paris is quite central in Europe, I've worked all around Europe, and I've never felt the need to go back to Italy. To establish myself back to Italy. And that's how I'm here since 20 years. I'm regularly going back to Italy, but I'm based here in France, and I love it. Yeah.
Do you think that having that sort of traveler diversity experience sort of view makes you a slightly better trainer, because obviously the people that you train and the teams, Scrum teams are ultimately the best Scrum teams are diverse teams, diversity of experience, of all life experience, and they bring that. Do you think that makes is your experience useful in that context?
Yeah, I'm used since always to work in multicultural and diversity environments. So I think I've developed a sensitivity that maybe is not you cannot develop if you always work with the same culture and the same people. So yeah, definitely I think I have this. I'm fortunate as well to have worked, I think, with all people around the world, and it's something that really enjoy. It's something hard because you need to always, be careful to others. The same is for my parents, because my parents has lived all their lives in Italy, and now they do not understand certain things about myself. So I'm helping them understanding my life and my thinking that has now evolved. It's different. So yes, it's a strength definitely for training as well. Yeah.
I think there's I think that the trainers taught me, the community has taught me about. Steve calls it the platinum rule. One of our trainers calls it the platinum rule, which is not to do unto others that you want to be done unto yourself, but do unto others as they would like and need to be, and I think that is a really interesting service in terms of servant leadership, a really interesting service that everybody can apply. And you all taught me that, and hopefully, though sometimes my mouth gets in the way of it, I try to live that every day. So thank you for that, Fabio. So let's move on to, you've been 20 something years. Let's not go through the details of how many years, because it always makes you feel really old, right? But 20 something years you've been in this industry, you've been doing sort of projects, programs, delivering value, etc. Tell me how you got to be this big choice to be a PST. Tell us a little bit about that journey and why PST.
Yeah, it could last days, but I'm trying to resume it. So first of all, I have a master's degree in computer science. So I started to work as a software engineer. And for 6 years, I was asked to, make code very fast. And I remember in these first years, I was making presentations to the management and saying, well, I can do it fast, but I will create technical debt. So can we just pause a little bit and, make some, how do you say, I was making presentations about design patterns. So make code that is well done. And very often people will say to me, Fabio, it's a very good presentation, but we don't have time. So please go to work and do as fast as possible. And after 6 years of that, I was a little bit fed up, and I said, okay, let me see if I go on the other side. So I manage people. Let me see if I can do better. So in reality, I've never managed people because people are not manageable. And so I started to do a lot of project management and discover how to deal with people, which is very different on how you deal with a computer. So you need to develop your soft skills. You need to really understand others. I learned about nonviolent communication. And in the same times, I learned to work with organizations. They were making a lot of pressure on myself to deliver on time, on schedule, and budget. And so I worked as a project manager and program manager for another, 6 years, let's say. And for me, the main point was to have a motivated team to work together and to achieve results together. I remember I was making some guns or stuff, and I was really spending very little time, because I knew that the day after everything was false. So I was really concentrating on having a group of people working together on the same direction. And we had great results together on many different projects, but still I wasn't satisfied, and I wasn't happy how in the way of working, there was something that was not really convincing me. And so I said, okay, I need to find new ways to create common vision, motivate people to work together. And I explored graphic facilitation. So after project management, I was really studying a lot graphic facilitation, how to facilitate groups. So I was going into this direction. And then I noticed that it was good, but not enough. So better than project management, but really not enough, because facilitation only is not helping in achieving results. And then in 2010, the Scrum Guide was out. I read it, but I think I didn't understand it, because I said, oh, come on, just a little book of 14 pages. How can it possibly work? And in a way, I forgot it. And I was continuing working on my facilitation skills, etc. Then I had this opportunity with a client. They were looking for a project manager Scrum Master. And I jumped on the occasion. I read again the Scrum Guide, and I start making the project manager Scrum Master. So a lot of mistakes. And that's how I was. I discovered Scrum.org because I always want to give to my clients the best. And I was starting to study professional Scrum. And starting professional Scrum, I said, okay, let's have a PSM1 certification, and I got it. Then I noticed that there was this professional Scrum trainer, opportunity at Scrum.org, and I just said, okay, I'm doing it with, and I was thinking they will never have me, but I didn't have any plan. I just started, and it took almost 2 years to become a PST. And that's how I became a PST, little by little, without any particular plan.
So training is quite different from, being a Scrum Master, doing the work on a team. Though obviously you do teach as a Scrum Master, but it's a sort of different vibe being a professional trainer. Was that a big jump, or did the facilitation sort of skills that you were very interested in, would that helped you to move that direction?
I'm quite comfortable with people. So I was comfortable in delivering the training. I wasn't comfortable in the beginning with the flow. So I was not happy with myself, because when you deliver a training, it's a little bit like dancing in a group, or playing in an orchestra. So my issue was really to having the right flow, the right pace, knowing very well the content of the training, because for the rest, the facilitation, the experience, this was something that I already had. And what really I appreciated during my PST journey is that, and that's what also I tell to my students, is that I'm not telling only Fabio's story, but I'm also telling the story of all our PSTs, Ken Schrober, that taught me how to deliver a training. So that was really, the PST program was really helpful to be at the first training very well prepared. Yeah, and then you need to continue delivering trainings and improve, inspect, adapt, improve, and that's okay. It comes quite, I wouldn't say easily, but with some work, it's okay.
Can we, Fabio, can we lean in a little bit about, now you're a PST, you sort of alluded to it, the idea of community and the support network. You sort of said you're delivering not just my stories and my, I'm the tip of the iceberg of these 350 plus PSTs. Talk a little bit about the community and your experiences there. I'd love to hear.
Look, it's a wonderful community because we help each other. We build content with each other. We challenge each other. It's a very recent example. For example, I have I'm helping a customer with Scrum, and that's a customer that is in France, Italy, China, and Sweden. And what is great in this community is that we are helping my customer with other trainers in China. I'm taking care of Italy and France, of course, and I have people in Sweden and China that are helping out. So from a point of view of value creation for our customers, we are capable of, with multinational companies, for example, we are capable to have a consistent offer, which is really a great thing, because Scrum is about behavior, is about understanding how to behave in complex environments, and having this consistent material is something that is really, really valuable for our customers. So that's one point. And the other point is about myself, how to be better. And the fact of being in this community is really, taking me, I don't know how to say it in English, but helping me growing as a professional, and also my knowledge, growing my knowledge. Yeah, we are face-to-face, we meet each other. So, and the simple fact that we were able to switch from in-person trainings to virtual trainings so fast, it was astonishing. It was incredible. We really did it in a few days. We were able to work together and transform everything. So yeah.
Yes, it was a testament to the community as we navigated the pandemic, because people were still delivering classes and they said, okay, I'm going to test this class. Can any of a PST jump on and help me? I've got some clients. And then within a month, we'd pretty much pivoted all the classes into a different way of delivering, and haven't really looked back since. It's great. It's a testament to the community. So let's sort of pivot a little bit in the last few minutes of this very short podcast. I mean, we could talk for hours about your journey and some of the things that you've experienced, but I'd love to talk a little bit just about professional Scrum. You read the Scrum Guide, you started practicing after reading the Scrum Guide, which is very brave, by the way, took the job and then worked out how to do it afterwards, which I'm a big fan of. What is professional Scrum to you, Fabio?
That's a great question. Professional Scrum to me is acting like if I didn't know nothing about Scrum. So always having this, I still have to learn. It's always a learning experience that is ongoing. I learn a lot from my students. I really learn a lot from my students. It's quite strange, but it's true. And then professional Scrum is not making a compromise on the foundations of Scrum, and it's also really thinking, acting, and taking the decisions that are coherent with the Scrum values, with empiricism. And with the rules of Scrum. So I really learned that we have a backbone. It is like our backbone. We really need to have this to be straight up. And being a professional Scrum master or trainer means that you understand these points and you act accordingly these points. So values, first of all, Scrum values, then empiricism, and then the rules of Scrum.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I love the use of the word backbone. I always feel that sometimes that, you know, yoga is really good at extending and strengthening your back, right? And Pilates as well. The practice, we're always practicing to try to improve our backbone. And that you could argue that the community and the classes and everything are practices as we try to sit up straight in spite of the complex problems that we're trying to solve. So I love that, you know, professional Scrum is the backbone to the knowledge worker's ability to deliver value. I think that's a really, really, really nice thing. So thank you for spending the time with me today. Thank you for taking the time away from your client work and delivering your trainings. The other thing I always think as somebody, an Italian living in France, take you away from the eating, which I'm sure you could teach me a little bit about. The food in both those countries is amazing. So thank you for taking the time. I guess, you know, as we hit the end of this very short podcast, anything that you would, in terms of what message would you send to our listeners today? Any sort of final words when you talk to Fabio, this is his words of wisdom. This is his sort of like his, you know, bores everybody at dinner because he says it over and over again. What would be the thing that you would say when talking about Fabio, the PST?
Oh, wow, that's that's a great question. I would say that everything is possible if you want to realize something. That we need to work hard, but little step by little step, we can improve and we can solve these complex problems. So that's how I help my people and teams, you know, in their journey to solve their complex problems. So step by step, everything is possible. I think that we just put barriers on ourselves. So we just need to try, and we will learn something. Yeah.
That's great. Everything is possible if you work step by step. You can climb the highest mountain, you can run the longest race, as long as you focus on that next step and then getting better every step. I love that. That is a really, really good thing to share. I appreciate you taking the time today. We were listening to Fabio Panzavolta, talking to us from Paris, France, even though he is Italian, a great man of the world. He shared his PST journey and talked a little bit about professional Scrum. Thank you once again, Fabio. Thank you for listening to our listeners, and goodbye, everybody.
Thank you, Dave. Bye all.